the second day of fall. How's it going, everybody? I've had a busy couple of days, and there will be no card readings because I don't have any cards up here. They're all downstairs because the studio has begun. It isn't ready by any stretch of the imagination, but it is underway. And I'm really hoping that in the next couple of weeks I can have it all put together. Let me say hi to everybody here. 22, but only Betty Randall, Seashell Surf, Seashell Surf, Jean Phillips, Joe Mama, how are you doing, sweetheart? I bet you're on countdown, eh? Julie Otson, Sherry Leach, and Simply Jessica. Now let me just pop this live here. Let me just pop out my chat. Let me just hang on a second here. Pop out my chat and then put it on live chat. And somebody is here for her treat. Wait, what? You do to me, or? Do you want a treat? Look, you do this every time. As soon as I go live stream, you want outside. Or if I put you outside, then you want back in. So you can wait. All right? I asked you not a half an hour ago. Oh, okay. My goodness. My goodness. My goodness. Yes. Here you go, baby. Oh, yeah. Gotcha, gotcha. There you go. That'll teach you for licking my popcorn bowl. Making you itchy. And that's it. Until bedtime, and then you have your hemp treat. Can I have a kiss? Give me kisses. Mwah. All right. Where you go? Oh, sorry, folks. You missed most of that. I have heard from Plano Paws, the folks at Plano Paws, and there may be another giveaway, but it's not going to be in the same context. Until I know more, I can't say anything. But cats are in the picture this time. So just saying. Squish that like button. Thank you, Seashell Surf. Teasers, pleasers. How's it going? Frustrated with bills and them not being correct. I hate dealing with insurance. Yep. Yeah. Well, my latest thing is that AdSense or the U.S. government or the IRS is still taking 30% right off the top of my YouTube income, which means I have to work twice as hard just to make the bills. I'm not asking for money. I'm just saying this is what's going on. And so I talked to my accountant, and he said, you know what? He said, just because you corrected it the next month, everything in it that has to do with money or bills or insurance or taxes or everything across North America is 4 months behind. He said, so I wouldn't get pissy-assed until, well, he didn't say pissy-assed. He said, I wouldn't get really upset about it until like, in the new year. And then if it still isn't corrected, then I'll hire a tax lawyer. Which is going to cost me no end of money. But I'll hire a proper corporate tax lawyer who knows the shit with the U.S. to fix the problem and get me my money back. And I don't care if it costs me 30 or 40% of what he gets back. For him to do that, I need the problem fixed. And as it is, the U.S. government owes me $1,500. And that hurts on a financial scale like you wouldn't believe. As soon as I found out that I had filed the wrong form, the first time they took the money out of me in June, I corrected it and did the right form. And then July, they took their money, and then in August they took their money. And it's like, what the hell's going on, right? But if you think about it, when I corrected it, it's only been 2 months since I corrected it. He said absolutely everything is 4 months behind in any kind of. Hey, Sage Spa. Hi, Melissa. So yeah, I filed a collected form. Hey, Helen22. How are you, darling? Aldo, Rosie, and Jean Phillips. It's good to see y'all. So it just means I have to work twice as hard to make where things are going. But that's okay. Because guess what? Howie was given a gift of a $150 Visa card, and he gave it to me. Well, I kind of had to pay him for it, but he gave it to me. And guess what? Life with the Wolfies and patrons, I just ordered a 500-watt karaoke Bluetooth speaker for downstairs. Emerald Skies, darling, how are you? So here's what's going. Hi, here's what's going on. Give me a second here. There'll be a tea break explaining a lot of stuff on our half-acre homestead, but all I'm going to explain to you guys is what's going on with the studio, because it's coming along. Yesterday, patrons got an inside look on what's happening, because I did my first live stream from downstairs yesterday, but it was for patrons only. And I'm filming the process of turning that living room downstairs into a studio. And once it is unveiled publicly on Life with the Wolfies, I will then put together the videos of how I did it, right? So there you go. So, I mean, don't get upset if you're not going to get card readings and all that stuff. That's patrons only, but once a month, it will be public, okay? Bad day. Bad fibro day, but the tramadol is helping. I cannot take that shit. Tramadol turns me into a lunatic. It's one of those things. As a matter of fact, when I sat down the other day and I counted just the prescription medications I can't have, and tramadol's on it. 16 prescription medications so far that I can't have because I've reacted to them. Who? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sweet Helen. Happy birthday to you. Mwah. Well, yeah, I know. But for me, because I've been on mood disorder meds since Briar was a baby, and he's 28 years old. So, right? I mean, since before his first birthday. And it took them a while. It took about a year for them to get my things right. But the thing is I was being treated by my GP. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, in reality, I am probably bipolar, and the medication they have me on works. Now, it doesn't just magically make all things better. I have to work within my own kind of grounding and centering and journaling and listening to reason if I'm going off center. But I have come so far, you know. Andrew, hi, darling. Blessings from Yorkshire. I bit the bullet and walked out with an Irish blackthorn walking stick today. My first day in public with a walking aid. Well, what's wrong with a good walking stick? Are you kidding? I have 2 of them. The only problem with those is I can't carry anything unless I get a backpack. If I get a backpack. But then, you know, but I love walking sticks, right? You're welcome. You're welcome, Helen. So, hi, Skippy. How's it going? I'm proud of you, Andrew. That took a lot of bollocks, so to speak. Makes a man look dapper. Absolutely, Sherry. Absolutely. Hi, Ahmad. How are you? So yesterday it was a crap show. It really was. I got up and I was going to work on my um on my studio. But I had a tickle in my throat, was feeling kind of punky. And then I phoned Briar and I said, I don't want to go out in public. I've got a tickle in my throat. I feel kind of punky. Now, I had been feeling kind of punky the day before. And Briar goes, oh, but it's raining. And I said, look, you wear a mask in the truck because he's fully vaxxed. I'm not, right? So I went and took him shopping and I came home and said, piss on it. I'm going to, because what difference did it make? The power had gone out anyway. So what was I going to do? Lay in bed and do nothing, right? Hey, CFF, how's it going, honey? Hi, Angela. So when I got home, the power was back on. And I decided to start schlepping stuff down to the basement. What a comic. I really should have set up the tripod at the top of the stairs to watch how I did this. I really wish I had done that. Because you know me in the stairs. Now, these are hardwood stairs. There's no carpeting on them. Dick, right? So I've got all my cards and my salt lamps. And all those things are like 3 pounds a piece, right? Cards and salt lamps and tripods and this box was so full I could only fold the top sides over a little bit and then put tape over them. That box was like 25 pounds, right? So then I realized I had to put something. I didn't want to, in case the box fell or slid, I didn't want to put my laptop in it. So I wrapped my laptop in cloth and I put it in a big shopping bag. And then I tucked my speaker in there and cords in there and what do you call them, power bars in there and all that crap, and I get that down there and I'm thinking, how am I going to get all this downstairs? So I tied two extension cords together, because you know how I have a half wall around my basement stairs. Well, I went to the back of the half wall and I tied 2 extension cords together and I tied them through the handle of the shopping bag and I lowered that puppy down over the wall. Right? I felt really kind of, Mission Impossible, right? And then it hit the second to bottom step. So I gave it a little swing, and when it kind of popped, I let go. So nothing broke, and everything was cool. But then I had to take down my tea and a quart of milk and a whole bunch of other stuff, but it wasn't a whole bunch. It was only like, a couple of pounds in another shopping bag. I know, Joe Mama. I'm, like Angie said, where's Howard? And I said, he brought the table down. I'm saving my favors from him for the big stuff, like putting up the shelf and moving the mirror and stuff. So not so super good. Things might change soon. Doc finally got back to me and we might have figured it out. Well, I assumed it along. What's going on with your health there, CFF? Everything is a process, right? So I put the bag over my arm and I slide the box. Honest to God, I wish I had set up a camera for the lowering of the bag and how I got this stuff downstairs. And then there's things like slippers and like a tripod in a box and stuff I just fired down the stairs. Not like didn't fire it, but I just tossed it down the stairs to the bottom of the stairs. Hey, Beth Delano, how's it going? Trina, hi. As my Marine boyfriend always says, adapt, improvise, and overcome. Well, yeah. Now you're gonna get the story here because you're gonna pee your pants, because I do every time I think about it. Well, I don't pee my pants, but I come friggin' close. So I see myself, right, lowering the bag down and swinging it and dropping it, and then eyeing up this 25-pound box that's like 2.5 feet by 18 inches or 2.5 feet by, by a foot or 2 feet or whatever. It was pretty bloody big. And it weighed about 25 pounds. I could not pick it up. So you want to talk about canes, Andrew? We're going to talk about canes in a minute. Hi, Lori. How are you, darling? So, all right, I got the box at the top of the stairs. And I hooked the bag over my arm with my tea and my milk and my other stuff in it. And I get back and down the stairs. And I got one hand on the railing and the bag swinging for my arm. And I eye up that box and I pull it to the edge and I tip it over the edge and I hold it with my hand. And then I start backing down the stairs. And then I come on a pair of slippers and I just kick them backwards. Anytime my foot, and I was real slow, but I mean, every time I felt something, my foot would feel the stair. If there was anything on it, I just kicked backwards like a horse and knocked it down the stairs. And down I went, down I went, down I went. I was so proud of myself. And then I found my cane, my bingo cane at the bottom of the stairs. I didn't want to lift the box, so I just hooked the cane onto the box. I'm not carrying the bag, both bags, and I shoved that box down the hall with the handle of the cane, and away I went into the living room downstairs. So after seeing an endocrinologist that didn't know more than how to give insulin, I finally had a good team that got me covered now. Oh, good. Oh, I'm really glad to hear it. Hi, Rosie. I'm actually, is anybody having problems finding turkey? They were on sale last week, but they wanted $25 a bird. I don't pay more than $20 for a turkey, ever. But anyway, no, I haven't had, but we're not doing a turkey. I have a little one in the freezer, but I think I'm going to can it. Oh, I'm serious, Trina. I'm serious. You know, me, one railing. Thank God how he really lagged that railing into the beams. Because I'm backing down this with this, trying this controlled slide with this 25-pound box. Then I get it all in there. And then I realize I'm here to build a cloud bank today. No, I'm not. So I turned the carpet around. I got my table in the way. I moved I was trying to figure out what to do with the trunk full of extra blankets. And then I decided to just throw a tablecloth over it and put up. I'm still waiting for my mini lights. But it's there. I did my first Patreon live stream from there yesterday. And okay, so I get downstairs and I start working and I work up a good sweat. And I'm pretty sure that's why I'm feeling better today. Right? And I work up. Hey, Corey C. Hey, Boo. So I just get working up a good sweat and I'm going to turn my little laptop on. And when I got this new thing that I bought a tripod, bloody expensive, but this is a metal tripod. And there is a plate, and then two bendy things come up from it. Like there's a square plate with a ridge, so you can stand your tablet up on the plate against what is your phone holder and a ring light holder, like a ring light, so you can move the ring light around and stuff. And I just get this all set up, and I go to turn on the computer, and the power goes out. So I was like, oh, that's twice today the power's gone out. And I wait, because sometimes when the power goes out, it comes back on within 3 minutes. So I wait my 3 to 5 minutes. And then I realize, oh, and see, I've already made myself a cup of tea, because I got the kitchenette down there with a little kettle and a toaster and a microwave and a little fridge and a little sink and all that stuff. So I had made myself a cup of tea, and I thought, well, I have some medication already rolled upstairs, because I had taken all my medication stuff down with me too, because I was going to be working down there. So I thought, well, I'll take my tea, I'll sit down and I'll roll and I'll phone my cousin Angie. And then I realized my phone was still upstairs. So I go all the way back upstairs with my cup of tea, grab my phone, go to sit down. I can't find my rolled medication. And all my rolling stuff is downstairs. The power was out for about, I don't know, 20 minutes, Ange? Thank you, Corey C. I'm enjoying the short hair. I really am. Um, so the power was out for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. I talked to Angie. But the thing is, as I had put supper in the oven, I put a frozen chicken, 3 potatoes, 4 carrots, and an onion. And I had set the timer so it would come on at 4:45. It would cook an hour and a half, and we would have supper for 6:30 or 6:15 or whatever, right? Oh my God, Rosie Slade. Wait till you find out how many times I went up and down those stairs schlepping stuff. So as soon as the power came back on, I said, Angie, gotta go. So I went over to the stove. I reset the clock. I reset the timer and everything. Remembered to grab my phone, and on downstairs I went. So I got set up for the live stream. Had my little laptop set up so I could watch chat. And I had my little ring light on and my phone, and I had it all plugged into the laptop, which was plugged into the wall. And I just start the patrons live stream and my power goes out. But the weird thing is because my ring light and my camera were all plugged into the laptop. Laptop's got a good battery. I was able to do my live stream. Soon as the live stream came back on, and I think we streamed for like an hour and a half. And as soon as the power came back on, I said, okay, folks, I got to go. We didn't eat supper last night until 8:30. Well, Howie ate supper at 8:30. All I could have was a bowl of popcorn because it was too heavy at that time of night. So anyway, I came back upstairs for the last time. So I had gone down the stairs and did some work, made a cup of tea, power went out. Went up the stairs, waited for the power to come on, reset the oven, went back down the stairs. And then my power went out and I did my live stream and I came back upstairs. But I'm telling you, that was, I also did the trip of schlepping stuff. And honest to God, I wish I had thought, like I said to Howie, it was comedy. It was Laurel and Hardy shit on a singular scale. I should have just set the camera up and showed me lowering my stuff down and then me going down the stairs. I should have angled. I should have done it. It would have been a riot, But so what's going on now is the public live streams for Life with the Wolfies are not going to be downstairs until I can unveil the room to you. And once a month, and that will be the first time I unveil it, will be the first time I go in glamour and I'll do cards for tips. I mean, you're not supposed, it's an exchange of energies. You're not supposed to ask for money, but I mean, I look at it this way. If somebody wants a card, and don't do it right now, I don't have any cards here, but if somebody wants a card pulled, and they can afford $1.99, great. If they can, or $2, if they can afford $5, they'll get 2 cards or a card and a pendulum. $10, I'll look in the crystal ball, I'll do a card and the pendulum, right? But one of the reasons for that is so that I'm not getting flooded. Like right now, there's 81 people here. But I don't want to get flooded on the first night of doing cards and glamour. I don't want to get flooded by 150 people all asking me to do stuff. Right? But when the super chat comes up, you have $2 or $1.99 or whatever, with a question, I'm going to see that. And that's how I'm going to have to prioritize it. You know what I mean? Uh-oh, what did I say? I might think, you are making your personal space for fun. Well, yes. Yes. I've got it all figured out, right? Now, my table's in the center of the room, but depending on whether I'm going to be using the green screen or the twinkle light backdrop, I will just move the table accordingly. because I want to be able to have room. You know what I mean? Have you ever watched The Frey Life? She has CF, and they live near the Research Triangle in North California. She has an entire CF team with pulmonologists, endocrinologists, and so on. Hey, Autumn Gypsy, how's it going? Well, the thing is, as I proved that I can go up and down those stairs more than once a day if I have to. Now, my right knee, whenever I tried to move when I was laying on my side last night, whenever I tried to move my right leg, my right knee went, hey, you went up and down those stairs 5 times today. Are you nuts? Let me rest. Yeah, my knees talk to me. All parts of my body talk to me, right? Poor Howie. I'm not saying that all men are babies, but when you look after them as good as I have over the years, they become babies. So Howie, earlier this week, I guess it was Tuesday. Now, remember me telling you how I've accidentally walked into a door jamb with my shoulder and it's thrown my whole back out, not to mention my shoulder is in pain for days. But because of my weight and my momentum, if I hit something or I bounce off a door jamb because I'm not wearing my glasses, that buggers my back and everything, right? I have body parts that just scream and yell at me at times also. Absolutely. So Howie comes home on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and he says, oh, God, you know. Or no, it's on this side. Oh, and I said, what's going on? And he goes, I walked into a mirror. Now, when I say mirror, he means a stationary vehicle mirror. And his arm must have been up because he hit it just at the bottom edge of his ribs right here, right? You know how the ribs curve down and he hit right about here. And he must have been moving pretty quick, right? Because he walked right into the mirror and he's like thinking he's broken ribs. And so I do my examination. No, I'm not a doctor. Okay. No, but I mean, you don't live this long in life without knowing whether somebody's got cracked or broken ribs or internal bleeding. Right? So I asked him all the standard questions. I made him take a deep breath in and let it out all of a sudden. I said, did that do anything? No. I said, does it hurt to touch? Yes. I said, well, it seems like you've bruised the muscle. You've just clipped the edge of your ribs, the lower edge of your ribs off the mirror, and you've bruised the muscle on top. So I looked at his shirt. There's no bruise, not even a mark, right? But there is a bit of swelling. And he said, maybe I've hurt my liver or my spleen or whatever. And I said, are you pissing blood? Is there blood in your urine? Not yet. And I said, well, then you're all good. I said, there's no physical bruise. There's only a slight swelling. I'm pretty sure it's musculature. I said, but if you start getting, pain in your kidneys or you start, getting blood in your urine, then we need you to go to the hospital. I said, but I'm pretty sure you just bruised the edge of your ribs and muscle walking into that mirror. If you've got a cracked rib, you damn well know it. Exactly. Right? So, but if he had cracked a rib, the bruise on his rib cage would have been the first thing, because it wasn't like he fell on his ribs. There would be no bruise. It would be a percussion crack. He walked into something with force. And if it was really that bad, there would have been a bruise. Period, full stop, right? So I'm keeping an eye on him. But he said so much. Oh. And I said to him last night, I said, honey, I'm really sorry if I don't seem too sympathetic. I'm sorry you're in pain. I said, but for the last 30 years, I deal with pain like that every single day. And the only time I can stop is when it gets so bad, I'm curling in on myself, which hasn't happened in a long time. When people have pain, they understand pain levels, but they forget about pain levels when they're okay. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, oh, I have pain every day. I said, I know you do. You're getting old. You're 54 years old. Of course, you're going to have pain in your shoulder that you blew, the rotator cuff. You're going to have pain in your hands that you've been using as hammers all these years. You're going to start getting back pain. I said, but the truth is, Howie, that is pain that is to be expected at this point in your life. I've been having this crap since it started when I got pregnant with Briar. My fibro started. So I mean, I'm not the best person on the face. I'm really bad. I'm not the best person on the face of the earth to complain about pain. That is from an injury that is not even visible. You know what I mean? What is Valentine's jam? Yeah. Um, so that's, so he's like, oh, okay. And I said, do you want, because the first few things I asked him when he said what he did, and I examined him. I said, do you feel the need to go to the hospital? Because I didn't tell him not to go. I said, do you think you need to go to the hospital for x-rays on your ribs? And he said, no. And I said, okay. I said, do you think you need to go to the hospital to have like an x-ray at all? Or an ultrasound or anything like that? And he goes, no, it should be, he said, it's just really sore. And I said, fine. Right? I said, unless you start peeing blood or you feel bones crunching together or something like that, then just take it easy on yourself. I have DDD spinal. I knew a guy once with spinal stenosis and severe neuropathy. And just because my guy can't see my wounds doesn't mean they're not there. Exactly. So I was making some weird noises in bed last night with my knees. But I'll tell you something. I did it. And I'll do it again. And I'll continue to do it because what's going to happen is all of my patron live streams, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Freaky Fridays, are going to be down the basement from now on. Because they're going to get to see the progression. You guys get to see it when it's unveiled, and then you're going to get the videos of how it happened. But the patrons are seeing it as it happens, right? So, hey, Nina, how's it going, sweetheart? Cranberry and strawberry. Ooh, I like that because it sounds like it's going to have some tartness in it, So, the chicken was finished at 8:30 last night was when Howie had his supper. And so I'm going to be doing a series of videos on, like tonight, I'm going to make a chicken Caesar salad out of half the breast, and I'm going to make a casserole for the freezer out of the rest. And then I'm going to put the carcass in the crock pot for chicken soup, and that's going to be like the 4 meals, 1 chicken. I could make a chicken go much, much farther if I had to. But Howie is stopping at the grocery store because of the YouTube AdSense IRS kerfuffle, I don't have my money to go shopping at Costco this month. That was my Costco money. They took it right off the top of my YouTube. That was my Costco shopping money. I had like $650. Oh, so that was from my brother. He's in Serbia, I guess, or Belgrade, Serbia. Anyway, hey, okay, welcome back, Aldo. So, this is what's going on. But I did a tea break for our half-acre homestead, describing my debacle of going up and down the stairs, describing how things are going to play out. Because a lot of people on our half-acre homestead are like, I miss the live streams. So I don't do live streams daily anymore. Well, I almost do. I do them Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. I do 5 live streams a week. 3 of them are for patrons and 2 are for you guys. And so now I tell people over there, you want a live stream, you got to come over to Life with the Wolfies, because I'm talking about everyday stuff here. I'll make tea breaks for them, but a lot of people didn't like the live streams anyway. We're decorating the yard for Halloween. It's not even October. Kids are really excited. Well, that's the important thing, right? It's interesting that you call your evening meal supper. In the UK, supper is a snack before bed. The evening meal is called dinner or tea. Well, I get that, right? And that goes back, I think, to the days when, people ate a meal later in the day and had tea at around 4 o'clock because you got to feed the kids before they got to make sure they have their meal in time to digest and all that stuff. I call it breakfast, lunch, and supper. Right? If I say dinner, sometimes I say dinner. To me, it's either or, right? I don't know if Billy Buckland's here. So, like I said, the way it's going to be is you guys are still going to get your 2 public live streams a week, but once a month, one of those public live streams will be in Glamour. Once I have the studio downstairs set up. For Reading with Beverly Wolfe guys, Reading with Beverly Wolfe folks, the Little House Live will be coming back as soon as the studio is set up. And I will be live streaming from down there. As a matter of fact, because I have the green screen, any more readings I may do on camera with the green screen in the background, because I can edit out anything that doesn't work, and you won't have to have just a picture, right? It gets pretty monotonous, right? Large meal of the day was midday and called dinner. Evening meal was lighter and called supper, the snack in the evening. Right. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Like you want a good breakfast because you're gonna be running on that, right? And then if you have a heavy lunch or a fairly good solid lunch, right, that's to keep you going until supper time. At supper time, you just shouldn't really have a big meal, right? Because it's the end of the day and you don't want to go to bed with that much on your stomach. But that just happens that, Howie it's totally in reverse here. Howie had like oatmeal this morning. And then for lunch, he had 2 sandwiches, an apple, and a piece of spiced pear cake. Because, no, we didn't eat all that spiced pear cake. I cut that up into wedges. And I put the wedges into a tin in the freezer so that I can pop one into his lunch. Everybody calls it different things, right? We can't even call it dinner because tonight we're having a chicken Caesar salad. I got the last of the tomatoes out of my garden. So I'm going to slice or quarter a few of those little tomatoes and throw them in. And I'm going to take the chicken breast from one side from supper last night, and I'm going to dice it up and throw it in. And the other side, I'm going to make a casserole for supper tomorrow night. So I'm going to keep the other half. It's going to be boom, 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 and then there's going to be soup. Grew up in agrarian blue-collar area, and most everyone called the meals that. Well, I grew up in an industrial Toronto. And when I say industrial Toronto, I don't mean the greater Toronto area. I mean Pape and Queen, Leslieville. We used to call, in the East End. The East Enders, baby. That was us. I mean, I remember the Colgate Palmolive factory being on fire when I was a kid, standing out on our front porch because you could see the Colgate sign, the lit up Colgate sign over the rooftops. There's just so many things. I remember when we moved to Apsley when I was 12. They went around doing swish, what they called swish. I think it was once a week or once a month or once every 2 weeks. And all the kids would swish their mouths with fluoride solution. Because living in the country, we didn't have fluoride in our water. Like, can you imagine? Like, toxic shit, right? But, back then, that's all they knew was that fluoride was good for you. Now we know, right? Minestrone soup for supper tonight. Oh, you know what? That's what I might make. I'll just boil the chicken carcass. Because it's just going to be for broth, right? And then I'll add a can of my, or a jar of my garden vegetable medley, and some red beans. Yeah, that sounds really good. That sounds really good. Because, I mean, I can make chicken noodle soup anytime. But I am going to be doing a video on our half-acre homestead soon, making kale noodles. Is fluoride bad? Fluoride's toxic. Fluoride's toxic. You ever read the warning on a toothpaste box? If I use toothpaste, I use no more than a quarter of a pea on the toothbrush. I mean, just skim, just a little, like, dip the brush in the end of the nozzle kind of thing. But most of the time, I brush my teeth with loose pink Himalayan salt. And guess what? Because fluoride's not good for you. You know, there's a lot of people out there with gray stripes in their teeth. That's from too much fluoride. They used to put it in the city water. That stuff is known for so many reasons. It's toxic. They tell you if you swallow your toothpaste, it says right on the box, call poison control. What's wrong with fluoride? I made that tomato, cucumber, onion, and pickle salad. I added olives and used vinaigrette. Oh, yes. Yes. Well, I still have cucumbers on the vine, but I'm letting them go orange and cracked and brown because I want to save the seeds. I can't find Manitoba tomato seeds anywhere. So thank goodness I've taken 2 slices of tomato at one point when I was making sandwiches, and I just squeezed the seeds out onto a paper towel and I let them dry there. So I've got to fold them up. The ones I did with my cucumbers didn't work because they weren't mature enough. They went concaved and flat, so they weren't any good for cucumbers. Well, let me just check on this because let me just look something up for y'all here. When did Toronto, Ontario stop putting fluoride in the drinking water? Toronto fluoride. Fluoridation has been drawing. Right-wingers raged against the growing practice of putting fluoride in the drinking water to prevent tooth decay. Their fervor was lampooned in 1964. Fluoridation of city drinking water. Fluoride. Concerns about water fluoridation. People opposed to water fluoridation have been raising concerns since the introduction of this public health intervention. However, the long-term use and benefits of water fluoridation worldwide do not support these concerns. Toronto's drinking water has been fluoridated since 1963. The Toronto Board of Health, whose members are citizens, city councillors, and representatives from the school boards, revisited the issue of water fluoridation on April 4th, 2011. After the meeting, there was an extensive discussion and a number of presentations by those in favor and opposed to water fluoridation. Following the lengthy meeting, the board unanimously reaffirmed its position to continue the fluoridation of Toronto's water. You may want to look at the city. If you live in a city, you may want to look and see if they're still using fluoride in the water. Because that's the excuse they used when we moved out to the rural areas. That's the excuse for the company to come in, Swish, to come into the schools and say these kids are, going to suffer tooth decay because there's no fluoride in the water because they're all on wells and shit, right? So they would get us to swish our mouths all through public school. We swished our mouths with this shit. And now it's toxic. When my youngest son was born in Germany, they gave me fluoride to give them both. I never did. Good for you. So it was so good. I love her videos. Hey, Simply Jessica. They put it in our city water Here in Connecticut, they say it helps with cavities, that makes teeth white, supposedly non-toxic amounts. Bullshit. There's no safe amount. I've done this before. I've showed you the box. All right. Okay. Let's do this. Crest warning label on toothpaste box. 30 warning label on toothpaste box. Okay, here's one. Here we go. Warnings. Keep out of reach of children under 6 years of age. If you accidentally swallow more than used for brushing, get medical help or contact a poison control center immediately. So, pea-sized amount in children 6 and under. That's about the size of a pea, your baby fingernail. Okay? So, if a pea-sized amount, more than a pea-sized amount in your toothpaste is swallowed and you're to call poison control, how much is it safe in your water? How much is a safe amount? There isn't. And it's bull. It's bull. It actually attacks your teeth. My sister had to go to a non-fluoride toothpaste because she was getting the gray lines in her teeth from living too much in the city. You believe. I understand the pharmacology. I live in rural Oregon. Our water is so bad, arsenic and everything, farm country. Well, see, that's the thing. That's where my mind has changed over the years. Howie and I would go to Cornwall for one reason or another. And I would look at all these farm fields, far as the eye could see. Farm fields, farm field. And when I was young or younger, I would have thought, God, I could live here. Now I think I could never live there. You know why? Because the groundwater would be soaked with pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and fertilizers. You know what I mean? That shit gets into your groundwater if it doesn't stay in the soil. Right? It comes down with the rain. If it goes back up, it gets weird. We live in a closed environment. So like everyone's like, oh, no, your well water's not good for you. I said, bullshit, my well water's not good for me. Trust me. Where I live, there are no animals being raised. There are no crops. There are animals, a few cows here and there, a few goats, chickens here and there. But there's no cash crops around here that we can see in my neighborhood. And I've driven all around my neighborhood. Most of the crops that they grow are hay. And there's no reason to use pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides on hay. Every couple of years, they till up a field and they put a fresh batch in when it gets too weedy. That's just the way it works around here. Did you know the pesticides that they use at my orchard I work at is watered down clay that they spray on the trees? Well, that makes sense. See, that makes sense. But I mean, there's so many things out there, that I live in farm country, but I also live in the woods and the hills, right? And my well is beautiful water. There's only been 2 places in everywhere I've lived where I could drink the water comfortably, and that was here and at our house in Colborne, Ontario. And then afterwards, just before we sold the house, well, it never got sold. The guy who was renting to own it backed out and left us hanging for mortgage payments. And the person that we were renting out our duplex, the other half of our duplex to, stopped paying the rent too. So all these things kind of crashed and we went bankrupt. But after we had moved from Colborne, the farm field that I've talked to you guys about, where I would, we had this great big farm field and it went around like a 90-degree curve in the road. So all the neighbors would come and I would set up fireworks and I'd duct tape them together and all this shit. And Howie and I would put on fireworks displays. Well, it got so that people were donating either fireworks or money for fireworks. so they can come and sit down on my front lawn and watch fireworks. After we moved, we went back to pick up one final load. And the guy who was renting the farmhouse across the road was a guy who pumped septics. And he was spraying treated septic waste onto those farm fields. And it stunk. And I was so glad we had moved because I wasn't drinking that water no more. Right? But here, where we are, it's like everything kind of runs downhill. We're on the top of a hill, you know? Well, like when we lived in Wakefield for 2 years before we bought this place, the water there was so the town water was fine. You could get on town water, but the house we rented on Burnside Avenue was on a new well, a drilled well. And it was so full of iron and sulfur, the smell, that I couldn't drink it. Is right? But up here, it was like moving back to Colburn, the taste of the water. Like Howie still puts it through a Brita, and I'm just like, please, right? But Howie likes, it tastes different to him when he puts it through. But I just say throw my ice in a glass and right out of the tap. I love my well water. I'm not completely jaded. I know they must use something else for bugs a couple of times a year, but it's way better than using it every single time. Absolutely. I've lived near Blue Springs State Park in Florida and had well water, and it was the best water. A friend living a few streets over had terrible water. I mean, like people have this tendency to think that water is supposed to taste the way my water tastes. But guess what? Right? People who live in farm country, you know, if there's a lot of cows, if there's a lot of crops, you know, like I knew a dairy farmer who had dairy cows, plus he rotated soybeans and corn, right? Because you rotate those two crops. And I asked him, you know, do you practice organic growing? And he goes, you can't do it. You can't do it. It's impossible, which is not true. But it would take because the land has to sit for 14 years. It used to be 7. It has to sit for farmland has to sit for 14 years without anything being done on it in order for it to be tested to be called organic. So you think about the water on that 150, 200 acres of Roundup and, you know, herbicide, Roundup, and then the sprays and shit. Because if you ain't doing it organic, then you are in the Roundup pocket. You know, you are in the chemical industry's pocket in the farms, right? Who wants to drink that water? I think I have one of the nicest wells on the face of the earth. Now, I'm sure there's other nice ones, but guess what? I like my water. We have A+ well water, and my daughter has city water, and I will never drink that. It smells like, yeah, when I was a kid, like you think I have a sensitive stomach now. When I was a kid, I would want milk or juice, because I couldn't drink the water. The only way I could drink it was in tea, right? But my mom started, because my brothers would guzzle the milk jug, Mom went to powdered milk so that we wouldn't drink it so fast, right? And I couldn't drink it. It didn't taste right, right? Just the skim milk powder. Like she'd make it thicker so it was more bodied like milk. But my dad would say, there's a tap. That's God's juice. Drink the water. But all I could taste was bleach. So the first time we went camping at Beavermead Park in Peterborough, Ontario. Now, when we lived in Peterborough, I couldn't drink that water, right? I had one of those water cooler things that my brother got for me, because I couldn't drink the water. One of the reasons I'm much healthier today than I've been in years is because I drink water. Water. I drink at least 2 glasses a day minimum, right? And we went to Beavermead Park, and I went to make a cup of Mr. Noodles to put my can of butter in. And when I went to sip it, I had to pour it all down the sink because all I could smell was bleach over Mr. Noodles and can of butter. I could smell the bleach. So I had to use we had taken our own water with us, like jugs of water for drinking, because we knew Peterborough water was crap. But when we lived in Peterborough, I had a hell of a time having baths in the wintertime because it burnt my skin. My whole legs, because I had like a kind of surface frostbite when I was a teenager, where I walked in tight jeans to my bus stop, like a kilometer away in 40 below weather. And I missed the bus and walked all the way home. And because even though I was wearing long johns, right? Because my jeans were so tight, the premise of layering your clothing for warmth is so that air can circulate in between the outer layer and your skin. But not when the jeans are skin tight. So by the time I got home, Dad said, "What happened?" I said, "I missed the bus." And he said, "Are you okay?" And I stood in front of the fireplace that Dad had just roaring. And I took off my jeans and I took off my long johns, and like when you have a blister and that skin comes off, but it was thinner. A whole thin layer of skin came off my thighs, the inside of my thighs with the long johns. So ever since then, I get, when I would be in the winter, my skin would get dry. And if I would have a bath, the chlorine in Peterborough's water would make my skin flare up and go red and swollen. I have soda once a year, maybe. I have maybe 2 or 3 sodas a year. No, I'll have one of Coca-Cola. I'll get the little 6-pack of the little bottles of Coca-Cola at Christmas time. But even that, the last time I drank it, it was just like, why did I ever think this was good? Right? Maybe it's just the smell. I don't know. Hey, Cal Storm, how's it going? So I live on tea and water. Pretty much it. Tea and water. And that's, and everyone says, like my cousin Debbie phoned me and she said, "Bev, you and Howie's skin you guys look so much younger than you are." And I went, "No, we don't. Do you not see the gray? Do you not see Howie's hair stark white and going bald?" She said, "No, but it's your skin. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, we eat really healthy. I don't wear makeup." Well, that's going to change. We don't wear makeup, or I don't wear makeup, and we drink lots of water. And that's when it dawned on me. She lives in Toronto. We drink lots of water. Howie takes a quart jar of water to bed at night. I take a great big beer glass of water and ice water to bed at night. And I drink that all night, and I'll get up in the middle of the night. I'll get up at 6 in the morning to get Howie's breakfast and lunch and get him off to work, and I'll just top that glass up with ice, and I'll sip on that as I go back to bed for an hour or two, and then boom. So, water is essential to life. And you got people like Nestle who think you should have to pay for it. Water, our bodies are 75% water. Okay? Our brains are 90% water, I think. But the reason your brain can be more than the rest of your tissue is because your bones have less water. You know what I mean? But it all works out to 75%. And if we don't drink water, then we're not refreshing our body's needs. And, coffee and tea and all that doesn't, and juice and all that's hydration, but it's not water. My dad was right when he called water God's juice. And it's a crime the way it's being treated. It's a crime the way it's being bartered like gold. It's a crime that it's being allowed to be polluted. I think no, water is a right. Water is a right. It is a life-giving thing. You can live 30 days or longer without food, but you cannot live 3 days without water. Water is a necessity of life. It should never be a privilege. And it's, it breaks my heart that, you go to the reserves in the Indian reserves and you turn on a tap and you can see the water comes out gray and cloudy and crappy. Like, how is that allowed? How is that allowed? 20% of people in the world control all of the money in the world. They have more, 20% of the world has more money than they know what to do with. And there's still people on this planet that don't have clean drinking water. This balance has to change because there is no balance. You know what I mean? Hey, Lacey Black, EJM, is your garden still producing anything, Bedwalla? Yeah, I just grabbed the last of the tomatoes today because I'm expecting a frost soon. Usually after 3 days of the fall equinox rain, we get a frost. And then I'm going to pull up my rutabagas and my beets. And then after a hard frost, I'm going to pull up my parsnips. But then I'm going to be doing carrots. So all that stuff's coming soon. We call it corporation pop, but yes, it is a human necessity. I'm holding my focus, Bev. I just reserved my van to move so soon, so I'm planning and packing. I wasn't able to see your pictures, honey. I was not able to see your pictures. It wanted me to, if you want to just send me pictures, send them through Messenger or send them to connectedheartsfamily@gmail.com. But just add them as an attachment. Don't send them through like a photo bucket or something because I'm technically challenged beyond the pale. I'm doing everything I can just to figure out how to do a green screen with my phone, okay? So that's that. Flint, Michigan. Yeah, like I'm saying, where is the justice in the world? That, working, living people can't have clean, unadulterated water. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. Okay, Cal. Okay. So, well, listen, folks, it's been an hour. Howie's going to be home in 15 minutes, and I have to go start dinner. I have to go start chopping up my chicken and stuff like that. So, you know what comes next. Anybody who doesn't want to stay for the closing prayer or the closing spiritual blessing, please feel free to leave now. No judgment. We're not going to worry about it. You don't have to wait till my eyes are closed. It's not a big deal. This is only for people who want the spiritual refreshment that our world desperately needs right now, especially after Turdo got in again. I saw a post on Facebook and I shared it because I'm a Canadian. And it said, congratulations. Canada just had a $600 million IQ test, and the majority of people failed. They have no idea. So anyway, I will, Rosie Slade. I will, absolutely. So now that we've lost about, 10 or 12% of the folks, I assume everybody else wants to stay. So for all those who care to, please help me close with a spiritual prayer to the God of your understanding, whether that's Christ or Buddha or whatever. That's you. I choose to call God the creator source of all, right? Because he did. It did. Okay? And honestly, when you say God, there's a lot of other ones out there that other religions have. And just because you don't believe in them doesn't mean they don't exist. Right? Because people give these things energy, right? So, all right, people are still leaving. So, hey, have a blessed rest. I'm going to have tonight. There was no time for TV last night because the power just kept going out. So we're going to have our chicken Caesar and tomato salad for supper tonight. And I'm actually going to do all the videos separate, I think. So 4 meals, 1 chicken, and I'm just going to show the original. I got it done in my head. So now we're down to 55 people. Let's take a nice deep breath. Remember, you're appealing to your faith, not mine. Okay? Everyone take a nice deep breath. I hear you, Andrew. Hey, God, creator, source of all. How's it going? It's time, God. It's time that the people of peace start reaching out their hearts and hands to each other and pushing more peace into the world, because it's becoming a very ugly place. There's people that are struggling with caring for themselves while caring for others, and that are ill. And there are people that are alone or anxious. The crappy way of the world is driving families apart. God, we just want to ask you that as we connect hearts and connect hands, we become a circle to amplify your love, God. Okay? We want you to fill us with your divine light of love and harmony and peace, and allow us across the world to fill ourselves with your divine light and love, and let it shoot out our hands into the next person until it becomes a rotating vortex of divine light and love. And when it gets to the point where we can no longer contain it, the circle we will push that love out from our centers and our solar plexus and our hearts and it makes a big white divine dome of light, for which people who are struggling can take shelter under, which people who are running from the shadows can take shelter under, and this will push the darkness back. We know the darkness exists, God, but we don't have to let it in. That's what we're doing. So, God, for all in the circle who are holding up your light, give us the strength to go forward, carrying your light and your love into the days that come. That may we be kinder, more peaceful, more loving to everyone we meet, because we don't know what they're going through, right? Oh, man. Now I got a secret for you. Remember all the problems I was having with Tim Hortons? I don't have those problems anymore. And do you know why? I've discovered the secret. Because they had gotten my order wrong several times, I would get up there and I would be very specific, but my energy was always that I was seeing them getting the order wrong. I was expecting them to get the order wrong. I was giving energy to getting the order wrong. I had no idea that I was my own worst enemy. So now when I go up to the Tim Hortons drive-thru, and it's not often, they always get my tea correct. They always get my order correct. Why? Because I just totally believe they're going to. Now you may think I'm crazy. You might think I'm crazy. But the truth is, what we see is what we get. And that's not you looking at me saying, okay, what I see is what I get. No, what you see of your future, of the moment, from moment to moment in your life, is the energy you're projecting. So what you see is what you're going to get. So please, folks, let us walk forward in peace and patience and tolerance. I don't have rages anymore. Yeah, I still get pissed off and I get angry sometimes, but it's always solvable within minutes to an hour, depending on the size of the situation. But the rage has left me. Thanks be to God, the rage has left me. So I'm learning. Remember, folks, what you see is what you're going to get. Change the narrative. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre. No, it's not. This is Mrs. Wolfie from Life with the Wolfies saying thank you for joining me for another Thursday, and I will see you guys on Sunday at 4, roughly. I'll make sure there's a post about it for sure. Okay? Mwah! Take care. God bless.